It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It is Memorial Day weekend, and we are so delighted that you are joining us. If you've got a financial question, if you need some help, just give us a holler. The website is jillonmoney.com. All you need to do is click the Contact Us button, and we will get you on the air live with us because Mark is so great. Today, we're starting the program with James from Utah. James, welcome to the program. What can we do for you today?
Good morning. Thank you. Well, so I've been listening to you guys for about 6 months now, and I really just enjoy your all-around demeanor, good nature, and greatly appreciate the knowledge and wealth that you share with your listeners. And because I don't have a financial planner or a retirement planner, I thought I'd reach out to you and give you some details about me and hear what you have to say about my idea of retiring next year at an early age of 58.
Ooh, wait a minute. You're 57?
I am 57 right now. Yes, 57 and a half, I like to say.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand. You want that half year. So 57 and a half sounds weirdly close to the age of a certain podcast host with whom you're having a conversation. So tell me, what is it about this time that makes you want to retire? Do you hate what you do? What's going on?
No, I don't really hate what I do, but I don't have a passion for it anymore.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 2 years ago, my wife suddenly passed away. And so, my whole life has changed, if you will. And so thank you for that. Putting that aside, I've just realized that I probably have wasted a good portion of my life on a career that I built that I loved and that I still have a little bit of interest in, but not as much anymore. So I think this time in my life, it's time to move on to my next journey, whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to decide financially, am I stable enough to actually take the leap and do that and not look back and not have to worry about the finances side, so I can get on with the next phase of my life.
I like that you say that move on to the next journey. As we like to say, financial independence, new or next endeavor. It's like the next thing. And I get that. That's really, by the way, that's my whole book was based on this, The Great Money Reset, because, I think that the prompt of a surprising and horrible death, illness, divorce, anything like that, that makes you reprioritize. And like you said, you might, I'd hate for you to describe your career as something you did that was a waste of time. It was like, it made sense for the time you did it. And maybe let's see if you have a chance to shift your next chapter to do something different. So James, do you have children?
No children.
Okay. So right now, why don't you tell us a little bit about your financial stuff? Right now, how much do you earn?
So this year, my projected earnings will be $210,000.
Okay. And do you make a retirement contribution based off that $210,000?
I do. At the employer, we have a 401k program there, and I do the max that the company contributes. That's 4%.
So you just do up to 4% on that?
Yeah, I just do the 4% because that's the matching. And in my experience throughout all of my careers and employers who have had 401ks, getting the match is fine. And then I like to invest the rest of my money with my brokerage firm because I have more options.
All right, cool. So tell us, how much money's in the 401k right now?
So right now, that 401k has $40,000.
Okay. And then do you have any old retirement accounts that like an IRA rollover or something?
I do, yes. I have a Fidelity. I have a brokerage rollover IRA that is currently at $1.4 million.
Wow. So that's the IRA rollover. Do you have a taxable account, a plain brokerage account?
I do. I have a brokerage account there as well. And that is currently at $860 with the majority of that being in cash at the moment.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. The market last year kind of made everybody a little squeamish, right? So,
okay.
So I rolled over a lot of things into cash at the moment, which is one of my concerns that I'll ask you about.
All right. So 40, 1.4, 860. How about do you have an emergency reserve, a cash account? Do you have some I-bonds floating around? What do you have?
I do. Yeah. So I have a checking that's currently at 40. I keep roughly about 40K in there. And then I have a couple of various high interest savings account that totally have currently right now about 400K.
Mark, I thought it was going to say like, and another 40K, another 40K with a zero. Okay. Plus four. So 440 in cash plus the bunch of cash in the brokerage account, right?
I'm sitting on a lot of cash. Yes.
All right. All right. Cash is not bad when you're making a big transition. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
What about any other asset that you have?
Well, I have an I-bond. Last year I did the whole series I-bond thing that we jumped on, and that was 10K. So I have that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Personal HSA that is currently at 10. I have an inherited IRA from when my mother passed away a couple of years ago. That's only at 42K.
How about where do you live? Do you own a home?
So I don't own the home that I'm in currently now, out of Utah. There's a mortgage on that for about 400K. That was a 30-year fixed, and I got lucky at the time. It's 3.25%. So that's not too bad.
Wait a minute. You do or you don't own? I thought you said you don't own. You do own.
I do own the house, but it has a mortgage on it.
So what's the house worth with a $400,000 cheap mortgage?
Yeah, so the market value on the house right now is about $1 million.
Okay. And you like it? You want to stay there?
For the time being, yes.
I feel like there's something possible there.
Well, there is. There's a relocation idea in my head, but I don't know where. I mean, this is paradise for the moment. Will it be paradise forever? I don't know. So it's a question.
All right. And is this the kind of place, just because it's Utah and I think of that place as such a beautiful place, is it a possible rental property?
It could be if I wanted to go down that. I don't know if I want that hassle. If I
hear you.
I would probably just do it all. But I'm telling you, it's paradise. So
all right. Paradise sounds good to me. Okay. Now, James, if you look at your expenses on your $210,000, how much do you think you really need to live on?
So I did a projection from last year's expenses, and I'm somewhere monthly between 6 and 8K. And that includes the mortgage, and that also includes any trips that I might take, personal trips, vacation kind of things. I rolled all that in and just did an average out throughout the year, and it came out to about somewhere between 6 and 8K a month.
Okay. And what about, if you had to pay for insurance yourself, then right. So if you didn't have this job, we would have to maybe add another $1,000 into this, right?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't calculated what the health insurance costs.
All right, let's say $9,000 a month, just for the heck of it. I'll go the top end. Do you hear my dogs going crazy? I'm so sorry. Mark, you know what time it is. Now, are you entitled to any pension?
I do have a small pension from a previous employer. Around age 65, if I wait that long, that'll be about $1,000 a month. If I take it sooner than that for any reason, it would deduct, of course, from that. And that'll start about when I'm 65. And
if we look ahead, say Social Security, your full retirement age is 67. What's the Social Security amount that you could look at?
That's a good question. I'm sorry, I'm
guessing it's probably around. Mark, what do you think? 3,500? Is that fair?
Yeah, I would think so. 3,000, 3,500.
And also, since you mentioned Social Security, I also recently just found out that I am entitled to what's called a survivor's benefit. And I will use that, honestly, when it kicks in to fund the charities that were important in my life.
Do you know how much that would be and when you would be entitled to it?
Yeah, I'm told that could start at my age of 60, and it would be roughly $11K a year.
We'll get back to James in just a minute. This is Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. And the way we do that is we ask you to answer financial questions. You can do that by going to our website, jillonmoney.com, bookmarking it because you'll want to come back. And if you do have a question right now, click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you'd be willing to come on the air, and we'll do the rest. While you're on the website, we've got some free stuff for you. There is a blog. There are 2 podcasts. There is a resources section and our free weekly newsletter. You can also spend a few bucks. Here's a great way to spend some money. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but what the heck? Number one, buy my book, The Great Money Reset, because this is a book that will help you look at chaos in your life and see it as opportunity. We outline 10 bold steps to help get you there. You can also subscribe to our new service. It's called Jill on Money Live. This is where you have access to quarterly live webinars and more special content. Okay, enough with the plugging. Let's get back to James from Utah. So when you say, you've got another year and then you want to do something else, maybe, right? You want another journey. What are you thinking about? What's your ideal?
So I'm really passionate about helping other people reach their full maximum potential in the workplace. So I've always been a good mentor, I believe, throughout my career. And that's something that I would be interested in. There's a couple of charities that I help. I would like to do more work in that and probably get on some boards of nonprofits and try to help them, in their financial situation as well. So there's things like that interest me, and that's kind of where I want to spend the majority of my time.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that doesn't sound like those pay very much.
Well, I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping that I'm going to be okay, right? And that I won't have to be
I hear you.
I can always get the part-time job at Costco, I guess, and be a really friendly door.
I know. So, okay, let's kind of think about this. So we need like phases of this project. Okay. So obviously in the next year, I like the idea that you've been stockpiling cash. That's great. But I'm thinking that once you are done with work, you will be 58 and a half or 59, right? About ish. You can obviously support yourself. You can spend, so from 58 and a half to 59 and a half, you're going to burn up $100,000 of cash that you have. You're going to live on that, right? At 59 and a half, something interesting happens because that's when I think we'll probably get the money out of the retirement environment, is to start using the money from your IRA rollover, pull that out and pay the tax on it, so that you can just start limiting the amount of money you'll have to take in minimum required distributions. And you should do that all before it starts to be your Medicare time. So right now, when you file, your highest tax bracket's 32. You go from like 32% as the highest bracket to probably closer to 22 because you have interest and dividends, et cetera. I'm thinking that maybe you could just take $100,000 a year or maybe $120,000 a year out of your IRA, okay, and pay the tax on it and live on that from 59 and a half until you get to your full retirement age, which is 67-ish. And then you're starting to pull the money out of that account. Although, Mark, don't I have to stop doing that because of IRMAA? Let me think about that. So there are standard premiums for Medicare, and then there are Part B and Part D. So Medicare for Part B, that's your doctor visits, and Part D is prescription drug benefit. If you make too much money, the government will charge you an extra surcharge for this Medicare Part B and D. So let me give you an example. You'd be filing single, okay? Let's say that you do what I say, which is you take the $120,000 out of your retirement account in that year. If that were the case, you would have to pay an extra $78 a month for your Medicare. Not so bad. It's fine. Okay. But it's $1,000, right? So it's not chump change. But if we pull out too much money, then the numbers for IRMAA go up to the highest possible, which is like if I pulled out $500,000 all at once out of your retirement account, that would mean an extra $472 a month. So I want to be mindful that in this game plan that I'm concocting for you, that we may have IRMAA kick in later, meaning when you're at the Medicare age. Okay. Now, let's say we now have that money from 59 and a half to 67. And I'm not touching the money from your wife's Social Security yet. But then at 67, you will have, or 65, 67, you'll have this Social Security plus a small pension, right? So you'll have this $4,500 a month. And then we have to come up with the gap between what's coming in and what you need. So we need another $4,500 a month net to you. So what I'm looking at is this. We have all this money and you've got this 401k, and, probably by the time you actually retire, it'll be $1.5 million, let's say, all in, right? If that kind of dwindles, I'm thinking that if we pull a bunch of money out of that each year from 59.5 to 67, we're going to get down to we're going to cut that in half. That'll end up being $750,000 that'll be left in there, but we haven't touched your brokerage, which would be $860. We've reduced your cash by $100. That's $300. And so now I'm trying to figure out, are we going to make it for you? I think we can make it. So then we'll have $2 million left, which would create about $60,000 a year in income. But when I play this out, I think you actually can do this. I think that your game plan could work. I don't think that it's not like a slam dunk and every year you work, it gets better. But I think you can make this work. The thing that we haven't done in this calculation, just so you know, is we have not touched your home. Okay. And if you thought, I'm done with paradise, let me see what hell looks like. If I've been in paradise, let me go to hell. I don't know where that would be for you. Maybe if you're a guy from Utah, it would be like the deep south that's sweaty
or New York City.
Or New York City. I mean, I don't know. We'd love to have you to come visit hell. It's not that bad. It really isn't. We love it. We love our hell. But if you could maybe, if you thought about it and you really thought, I don't want to maintain a home, I want to do something different. You do have $600,000 of equity that you could do something with. I think this plan will work. I think there's a few different parts of it that could be maybe what I would do. Just, I don't want to disrespect your plan about your wife's survivor benefit, but a better plan that I would see is to use that $11,000 a year to just support yourself for now. And you can later start giving money from your retirement account, which is a really great place to gift. So I would be kind of holding back a little bit, and you can do some gifting, but I don't necessarily want you to not have that survivor benefit. If anything, if you had some stock that you wanted to gift to a charity, but cash is not a great gift for someone like you. If you have accumulated gains in a stock or a mutual fund, that would be a good thing to gift, or a QCD at 70.5, right? And then, obviously, if you were to get some other job, if you get passionate about mentoring and you're in a charitable organization, you say, actually, I want to work there, anything you can do to kind of get you health insurance between now and age 65 is helpful. But it's not a forced, I don't see that as a forced, necessary thing. There are people who come on the program and I'm like, go get yourself some health insurance. I don't see you are in that. So from my perspective and Mark's perspective, the situation you laid out is doable. You should be able to, in a year, actually make this shift. I know that there's a ton of money in cash, so I want to help you get that reinvested because you're going to need your money to grow. You don't if you had another $1 million tucked away somewhere else, I might not be as worried about that, but you're going to live a long life, hopefully. And, you could live for 35 years. And I need you right now, your cash, after you pay taxes on your cash, right? And you factor in inflation, you're losing money. If you have a financial question, just go to Jill on Money and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make sense of the financial headlines, make sense of the things going on in your life. And I would much prefer that you concentrate on the things going on in your life because we actually have a shot at making a proactive change that could help you out. I know that we get weighed down by the news cycle and worries and concerns, and whether it's bank failures or high interest rates or high inflation still, I know it weighs on you and it can sap you from feeling confident, but maybe your financial situation is actually better than you expected. Maybe there is something that we can do to improve it, but we can only do that if you get in touch with us. And the way that you can do that is so easy. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we would be delighted to get you on the air live with us. Mark does all of the hard work. While you're on the website, don't forget to check out all of that great free content and also some of the stuff you can spend money on. All right, right now, let's finish up with James, who's on the line from Utah. The reason why I'm really thinking about that IRA is that I'm seeing a way for you to reduce your future required minimum distribution and to manage your tax liability. You right now, as a single person, your highest tax bracket is 32%. So if we can get your money out at 22 or 24%, that's kind of juicy for me. That's like a big savings. You know, when you think about the future, if we don't touch the retirement account, okay, and we burn up your cash, what you're going to end up having is you will have $4,500 a month of income, and you will have some money from brokerage, but you're going to be forced to pull money out of your retirement account. So if you think about it, check this out. This is another one of Ed Slott's handy dandy tables that I love. This is how we figure out the lifetime table. So Mark, if we don't touch the IRA rollover, pretend it grows for now another 15 years. Give me the number on that. For 15 years from now, what's the amount? What's the account value? Right now it's let's call it 1.5 because he'll have another year. So let's say $1.5 million for 15 years. Do it at 5%, just for the heck of it.
3.1.
Okay. So check this out, dude. James, when you get to age 75, you have to pull out 4% of that a year. That's $124,000. So that $124,000 is on top of the $4,500 a month that's taxable to you through your pension, right? There's a pension plus the Social Security. So now I've got 124, 1, 2, 3. And so now you have $178,000 of income in the future. All right. And right now, based on today's tax rates, that puts your highest taxable rate at 24%. And yet I would even say this, I'm not even sure it'll be that. Tax rates are more likely to go up than down from here. So I'd rather you pay the tax now, lock that 24% in today. I think that would be, I don't know. I truly believe that that's going to be a better outcome for you and you'll control your tax liability.
Yeah, and tax liability is not something that I spend a lot of time on. So I'm listening to you and I appreciate that knowledge that you're sharing with me.
First of all, I think that when you go through this tragic thing called loss of spouse, you are right to try to understand and sort of gain a new equilibrium. I'm going through this with my friend Andrea. It's like you're sort of at sea, you've lost your person. You now need to figure out like what you are here. And now it's what's next. And I usually have found that with many people in this situation, what's next is not what I've done for the last 30 years. So I get it. I also think that you are fortunate that you and your wife saved a lot of money during your lives and you've put yourself in this situation where you can do something different. So I think that you can do this. I really do. You know, I'll just do a few extra things here at the end, which is you've just gone through this process of settling an estate. Now, do you have your own estate documents done? You don't have children. Where's all your money going? Charity?
Yes, all of it is earmarked to go to our charities.
That's awesome. Good for you. What else can we do for you?
So I have a question about the unpaid mortgage. I'm sitting on this cash and I'm getting ready to retire, and I'm always told that you should own your house before you retire.
Who said that? That is okay. You ready for this? Here comes your very official term. That is baloney. Okay. You thought I was going to say a bad word. I know you did. That is true. Let's pretend that you had a 9% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Yeah, of course. Pay it off. This is a 3.25% note. Absolutely do not pay it off. That cash is gold for you. That brokerage account is going to help you build your future. And if you pay off this house, the house that you're not even sure you're going to keep, you rob yourself of that liquidity. And the plan won't work as well. It really won't. And then you might be forced to sell this rather than be in a situation where, well, I might want to keep it. You may want to keep it. So no paying off the mortgage. Negative.
Let the cash work for me in the future.
Yeah, except don't sit around in cash. So how are we going to get you reinvested? Can you do this yourself? Are you on top of it? Are you going to dollar cost average? What are we doing?
I like to think I'm pretty smart when it comes to that. I'm just, there's a time right now. The last year has been hard, and there's a time to jump back in. And
yeah, you tell me that time, since nobody knows how to time the market. So you just let us know when you ring the bell when it's time to get back in. That's a New York sarcasm for you, buddy.
No, I got you. Nobody knows, and I'm coming back in slowly but surely.
I agree with you. I don't even know when now is, but now is what I could say is that when you're sitting on a whole bunch of, usually people time the market by accident. You know how like they say, it was shocking. I just happened to sell all of my portfolio out at the end of 2021 because I was buying a house or I had to pay a tuition bill. And like, that's the accidental market timer. Otherwise, it doesn't really work, James. So get that money to work and don't look back. If you have a financial question, head to JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's talk to Rose from Washington State. Hello, Rose. How are you?
Good morning.
What's happening? What can we do for you?
I am a recent divorcee from a long-term marriage, and my ex-husband was very good with money. He was an MBA and a computer guy, so he managed everything for many years, and then got a divorce. And in the divorce, which was non-litigious, it was a collaborative divorce, I got 2 houses, and this was designed by the attorneys. And then I got, some IRA stuff and half of the brokerage account. And then he got an equitable amount of the IRAs. Mm-hmm. He got a higher amount of the IRAs to equal the cost of the houses.
How old are you, Rose?
I am 60.
Okay. Tell us about the value. So what's your share of the IRA?
I have 2 IRAs. One is about $295,000 and the other is about $562,000.
Okay, got it. Next, tell us about the brokerage account.
One is $653 and the other is $424.
That's great. That's a lot of money. Okay, you live in one of these 2 houses?
I live in one of these 2 houses. It's a little bit too big for me, but honestly, I don't know. And it's not that much to care for, but I honestly don't know where I would go.
How much is your house, the primary, worth? How much is that worth?
1.8.
Is there a mortgage on it?
No.
All right. And what about the other? Is that a rental or is it a vacation home?
It was originally purchased as a vacation retirement home, and then I wanted it, and my ex-husband did not want it, and I turned it into a rental, and it's managed by a property management company. There is some income from that, but at the same time, it is a little stressful at times.
How much do you think that home is worth, the rental?
800.
Is there a mortgage on it?
No.
How much income after you pay the rental company or maintenance or whatever, cleaning, how much do you think real income is coming to you?
It's $3,000 a month. However, the fence blew down and that was that.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. You're like, okay, that happened. All of a sudden, the $36,000, you're like, oh, I seem to only have 20 grand. In your heart of hearts, you said you wanted to keep it. Is that because you'd like to keep it for yourself or you'd like to move there? Do you have any aspirations about like what you want to occur?
I did honestly think I would retire there, and that my son might go. He's a junior in high school. I thought I might retire there and he could go to college about an hour away. I'm not sure what's going to happen because the couple who are renting the house, they really like it. They want it, I think, but I don't want to sell it.
All right, hold on. Let's get back to you for a second. So you're 60 years old. Do you work?
I worked part-time the last 2 years.
And do you receive any sort of money from your ex, like support in any way?
Yes.
What do you receive?
$6,000 a month.
And that's for until when?
I'm 65.
And he carries you on his health insurance?
No, I got my own. I'm COBRA'd through the end of this year.
And then you'll go on the healthcare.gov?
Yes, or else have a job.
How much do you think you need to live on?
I figured that out last year. It was around $7,000 a month. And then I don't know if it came down after I rented out the house. I'm not a big spender.
But you had a son. You have a son who's a junior in high school. Do you have any other kids?
Yes, I have an adult 23-year-old daughter who's launched.
Okay, so she's in good shape. That's great. But you still have to get your kid through high school. And I presume, obviously, you want to spend high school there in Washington. Right now, the $6,000, is that alimony or child support?
It's spousal support.
Spousal support? Like, is it taxable to you?
No, it is not.
That's what I thought. Okay. Because it's different the way it depends how it's treated. That's why. So it's spousal support, not taxable.
Correct.
Are you dipping into your brokerage? Do you have a savings account? Like, what do you have just liquid floating around? How are you if you needed extra money, what do you use?
We used to have a home equity line of credit, but we closed that. So, so I just end up putting extra money in a savings account. So I have $100,000 in a savings account in case something goes wrong.
Okay, that's good. I mean, you do have a lot of assets. I think that's the really good news. So $7,000 a month. Let's look at this like big picture. Forget the real estate for 1 second. So you've got $1 million in a brokerage account. Okay. You've got $850,000 in pre-tax IRAs with your small Roth, and you've got $100,000. So if you had to pull out $1,000 a month, $12,000, even $15,000 a year, nothing wrong with that. And, frankly, it's funny because, you're over 59 and a half. There is some case to be made that before you start going on Medicare and before you're forced to start pulling money out of your IRA account, that maybe it makes sense to pull a little bit of the money that you need from those IRAs to reduce your future tax burden. We'll get back to Rose in a minute. It's Jill on Money. Welcome back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Rose from Washington State. Look, if you don't want to keep the vacation property, the rental property, and it's a pain in the neck, it's just going to make everything look better. The concern about not selling these properties, it's probably just because you've owned them for so long and you're very settled. And I don't think that there's any need to do anything this second. If you want to feel more financially secure, and again, you've got a lot of money, you have almost $2 million between the brokerage account and the IRAs. If you wanted to really kind of get a lot more liquid or change your life, you have these two big pieces of property. Neither one has a mortgage. And so if it's like too much of a drag or pain in the neck to deal with the rental, sell it. Big deal. And pay whatever taxes due. And if you're like, my house is great, but it's too big. And like maybe after your son goes off to college, you're like, you know what? I don't need this big house. I'd rather downsize. Fine. But you actually weirdly can keep this almost $2.6 million in real estate that you have tied up. You can probably keep it. It's just more of a management, emotional connection. And if the management part becomes more hassle than it's worth, then you sell it. But maybe this sounds like it's fairly recent. I don't feel like you need to do anything like immediately. I think it's good that you should always have some money in savings. So I think having that $100,000 in savings is great. And I think if you could little by little, if you just took like $10,000 or $12,000 a year from the traditional IRAs, pay the tax that's due, and push that into your brokerage account, I think that would be smart also. I mean, do you feel relieved? I mean, it's a very hard thing to go through. A late in life divorce is never fun for anybody. I mean, divorce is not fun, but it sounds like you're not in a terrible, first of all, you did not devastate one another in the process. And this collaboration sounds like, is lucky because you both had enough money at the end of the day to feel comfortable. Jill on Money will be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of Jill on Money, and we are here answering your financial questions. We are going to do an email right now. This one is from Anonymous, who says, "Hi, Jill and Mark. I've listened to your podcast for years. My wife and I both retired early. We love it. I'm 60, she's 65. For years, I've been asking, begging, and pleading for her to do Roth conversions while we are in lower tax brackets, and she refused. I'm a wee bit younger. I can still do them, even though it kicks us up to the 24% highest tax bracket. She just started Medicare, and I almost triggered IRMA, and she yelled at me." IRMA is the extra money you have to pay for Medicare because you have too much income. So when you do a Roth conversion, it creates the income, and that means that you could be subject to IRMA, which is income-related monthly adjustment amount, which is just an extra amount of money you have to pay for Medicare Parts B and D. Okay, so I'm resolved to pay higher taxes. I can't get it through her head that the coming required minimum distributions are going to be big. We have separate IRAs totaling $900,000. This is Ed Slott's ticking time bomb. Would it be half-baked to file our taxes separately while I convert my IRA to Roths and her Medicare IRMA does not get triggered? Or should I sit back and have a beer? Thank you, and thanks for being an out and proud gayster. That's me. So this is so interesting. I guess you have to really look at it. There's two choices. First of all, you can just keep doing what you're doing and, kick back and have a beer. And then maybe you just start to collect some of the money a little bit at a time. And I guess that you could possibly wait till you're 70 and a half because she's going to be 70 and a half before you. Maybe there's a way to use QCDs, qualified charitable distributions. Okay, so what do you think, Mark, about having Anonymous file separately so anonymous can convert, but not imparting that pain on the wife who's getting the IRMA charge. What is the best practice when looking at that scenario?
They'd really have to get someone to run the numbers. I mean, very rarely does it make sense to file separately. There's only a handful of situations. So you'd have to get someone to run these numbers. But I also wouldn't be driving themselves absolutely crazy about this. It's not worth fighting over.
So you think basically have a beer is probably the right thing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, probably. And you know what else? There's also a case to be made. Like, I know that even if you were to run the numbers, it's kind of a pain in the neck. So you have to run the numbers and also account for the fact that, like, now we have to file separately. If you have an account, it's going to be 2 returns, not 1 return. I know that in one case where I've seen it definitely works better to file separately, it's when someone is trying to do public loan forgiveness for student loans. That I know has helped, or to do some sort of loan consolidation. But maybe in this case as well. So maybe you get a fee-only advisor, which of course now we're just adding to the cost, or maybe go have a beer. Good luck. Okay, this is from a W who has a very distinctive first name, and I'm not going to say that name. Good morning, Jill and Mark. I recently started listening to your podcast, and I enjoy your delivery. Thank you, W. I have a 529 question for you. My wife and I have 3 kids, 13, 11, and 6. We initially invested $5,000, and we've contributed $500 a month since their births. There have been some bigger contributions at times from grandparents. Okay, here come the balances. Wow, it's a lot. 13-year-old has $145,000, 11-year-old $125,000, and the 6-year-old has $58,000. My question to you and Mark, at what point do we stop contributing? What's a safe dollar amount? W, this is interesting because I don't know if you're planning on paying for private or public college. If you're looking for a fully funded private 4-year university, you're probably going to keep going. Depends where, and we don't know really everything else going on in your life. My guess is that you would probably stop at around $200,000 each. That'll kind of mostly get you there, not 100%.
If they keep doing $500 a month, for example, the 13-year-old for another 5 years will probably have around $230,000.
Yeah, I think 200 to 250 is probably the right amount. Well, listen, and I hope and pray that they're going to public school for your benefit, really. Here's a great one. This is from Bob. Subject: college crunch time. 3 kids. Will we make it to our goal? Okay, Bob and his wife are 51 and 53. They've got 2 kids in their first year of college and another leaving for college in 15 months. 3 kids in college at the same time. I'm going to kill myself. Right now, we have 529s for each kid. It should cover 3 to 4 years of their schooling. The plan is to take loans out for anything the 529s do not cover, which we would then help them pay off. All right, now, about these 2. They're 51 and 53. They've got $2.1 million in retirement assets. That's great. And largely index funds, some individual stocks. They earn about $250,000 a year. He contributes the max to a 401k with a catch-up and gets a little match. Because of the saving that's been going into the 529, that's about all they can do. They've got 12 years left on a mortgage that is a 2% mortgage. The goal is retirement at age 60 after the kids have gotten through school. That's when they hope they amass about $3.5 million of retirement funds. Our monthly expenses, $9,500 a month. I would expect to receive $2,500 a month at the age of 62 from Social Security. Wait. We don't really want you to do that. We want you to, I want to know what the number is at your full retirement age. Do I think you're on the right path to hitting your goal? Sure. But I got to be clear that right now, for you guys, $9,500 a month, generating that is going to be tough, even if you do amass $3.5 million in retirement. I think that people are really kind of kidding themselves a little bit in terms of, like, we need to probably get you closer to like 4 million, and it can't be 62. I think you've got to really run the numbers so that you can Maybe you get to 62 and you kind of downslide a bit and don't work fully, or maybe, but we need something between 62 and your full retirement age. I would not suggest that you take Social Security early. Absolutely not. I don't know. You didn't really mention too much about your wife, except that she is working. I hope you're not making extra payments on that really low mortgage. The question about should you go into a Roth versus a regular, I think probably we think a Roth is better for them, right, Mark?
So he's 53. So, I mean, they already have a lot in pre-tax. So that's 7 years of Roth saving. I would do it, obviously.
Yeah, I think we would suggest a Roth. I also would suggest that you not get 62 as your I must get to 62 and then I'll get my Social Security early. I don't know if that's the right thing. I really, really want to know more about these folks. We'll be right back with more financial questions. It's Jill on Money.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's talk to Angela from Michigan.
So I'm trying to find out if my husband and I, if we are in a position where we can start withdrawing immediately, $2,000 a month from our TSP accounts. So
wait a second. Hold on a second. How old are you? You sound young.
I am young. So we are considered law enforcement. I am 50. My husband is 49. So I'll be 51 this year. He'll be 50 and we're eligible to go on our birthday.
Holy smokes. Wait a second. You're married on the job? Did you meet on the job?
We met at work. We sure did. Well, we're in two different departments, but we met at work.
So when you guys retire, at age 50 or 51, or is it just time in? How many years in do you have to have?
So it's 20 years at age 50. So I'll have 20 years in June. So I meet the age requirement now, but my 20-year anniversary with federal government is going to be on in June. My husband, he'll have 24 years and he'll be 50 in September.
What will your pension benefits be between, let's say you just do it at the same time. So give me the round number. What will you guys earn together from your pension benefit?
So approximately $10,000 a month before taxes.
Wow. That's a lot.
You think so?
That's yes, I do. Thank you very much. And is there a cost of living adjustment for that pension or not?
For part of it. So listen, so because we're retiring so young, the government gives you a supplement, right, to Social Security. Mm-hmm. This is called a bridge till you're 62. So about $2,000 of that goes away when we turn 62. So $8,000 of that will receive COLAs for the rest of our life.
Holy smokes. That is a lot, though. Okay. So, I'm just going to say, pretend it's a year from now and you guys are both retired. First of all, would you stop working altogether, or would you actually, I don't want to say you should have to, but would you like to keep working?
Not right away. I don't want a second career. Our jobs are very stressful. I'm going to be honest with you because of what we do. So I'm not in a rush to go out and get a job. If I do, I promise it's going to be something fun and something easy, and it would be part-time, not because I need to, maybe because I get bored or I just want something to do. Yeah.
Okay, I get that. So how much do you need to live on right now, the two of you?
So I estimated that we would probably clear maybe between $700 to $7,500. So we could pay everything out of that and have a little left over, but I still want to be able to travel because we're so young. That's why I was asking, can we safely take $2,000 a month out, because that will be the money we could go have our fun with.
Okay, I get that. Okay, but what we do know is that pension amount will actually meet your core needs, right? We don't have to worry about like money coming out to pay for health insurance or pay for property and casualty insurance. Like that's like your basic nut. So that's good. A couple of other things. So tell us about the money you've saved. What's in savings? What's in retirement? What do you got?
So we have 1.3 million in TSP, and yes, it's traditional. A little bit is Roth, but not much. But 1.3 million, and all with cash and cash on hand, about 190.
How about your house? You own a home or do you rent?
We own it. So as of tomorrow, when I make the mortgage payment, the balance will be 72,000. It's a 3.5% interest rate on it, and it's due to end, if we don't pay any extra, December of 29.
How much is the house worth?
Between 450, 475.
And you like it, you want to keep it, right?
We're going to stay here for a while because we're going to pay it off and just sit for a while. I don't want to, interest rates are high, and I don't really want to pay $600,000 and $700,000 for a house. So I think we're going to stay put for at least 10 years.
Okay, that's good. So right now, when you're looking at your current income, how much you earn today, both of you? Let's give me the combined.
About 258.
You're putting a lot of money away, I presume, right?
Yes, we just dialed it back a little bit, to be honest with you. I was maxing out until a few months ago because I turned 50. So we just kind of dialed it back. So I'm doing 17% and he's doing 15% now.
But when you say, so you have 1.3 million in pre-tax traditional retirement accounts. You've got 190 grand in cash, and that's it. There's no other brokerage account or anything else, right?
It's not much in there. It's a Roth IRA, but I think the last time I looked at it, the balance had dropped to maybe $7,500. So it's not much in there.
Well, I mean, first of all, you're in sweet shape because obviously what happens is for the next 12 years, you can pay all your bills, right? And then, Social Security will kick in. That'll be fine. You'll do that. But I'm not even sure you need to claim at 62. You probably can wait another 5 years. But here's the thing. If you want 20 grand a year, what I would do is I'd pull way back on my TSP and I'd start building up my cash. There's your fund money account. So your 2 grand a month is not coming from the thrift savings. I would stop putting money into the thrift savings plan. And I would reorient yourselves towards building up cash on hand. So even if it's just for another year or so, okay, then when you retire, you're going to use that cash. Don't invest any of that cash. You can maybe I shouldn't say don't invest. You should try to maximize it, get some higher yielding stuff. But what you could even do is actually you could have a 1-year CD, you could have a 2-year CD, you have a 3-year, but that's your pile of cash that will see you through, okay? What is that rule that you can access money in the thrift savings plan, I think at age 55?
We don't have a penalty. I can take my money and I'm leaving. I want to leave in June, in 4 months. So I don't want to stay another year at work. And we don't have a penalty because we're special category.
Oh, okay. So you can get the money out. You don't have to wait till you're 59 and a half is what you're saying.
No.
Okay. So, all right. But you're going to do not roll that money over. Leave that money where it is, okay? So I still would probably keep stockpiling cash, but I would say this. I think that you're in perfectly good shape. There's no reason why, for 20, 25 grand a year, that's fine. But if all of a sudden you say, oh, it's not 25, it's 50 grand because we're doing these crazy ass trips all over the place, then you're going to be in trouble. Not trouble, but you're not going to. Be careful not to go too crazy. You're so young. We have 35 years to get you through, 40 years, and we need to make sure that you don't blow too much money on the early years of retirement. I think that's really important.
Your husband also doesn't see himself working at all in the future?
He says he'll work at Kroger and do click lists.
I mean, Mark, there is no problem here. So I think instead of thinking about even converting, I think what would be helpful is that you guys are going to be in a high tax bracket for a while, just because you're going to have all that income. So for the foreseeable future, you're essentially in the 22% tax bracket. So I would just use the money and dribble it out of the TSP. Don't take too much out of there. Always leave yourself with some cash and you're fine. But don't make this a $50,000 a year habit.
No.
That's not going to be good.
Where do you want to travel to?
So listen, so we have a trip booked for next February. it goes to Portugal and it goes to the Canary Islands. It's like 13 to 14 days. I got a trip booked for Iceland the following year. And that goes to Norway. I know, right? Brussels, Amsterdam. I want to go to Egypt.
I want to go to Egypt too. I'm with you.
I actually have a vacation fund set to the side. So that trip for next year is actually already covered. So that's one reason why we dialed back on the TSP. So I've been putting that cash to the side to try to pay for some of the trips.
Good. I think that's good. I really don't think it's that important. The TSP at this point, like rock and roll. How's it invested, by the way?
So don't get mad. So we moved about half over to the G fund when everything started going bad, but we left half invested.
You got to stay invested. I mean, you have a long time to go.
Well, half
sure
of
do.
half of it's invested still.
It should probably be more than half.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking 60-40 at least, Mark.
That's not bad. I can really live with that.
Yeah, do that. I think that's better.
Okay.
I really do. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, answering your financial questions. If you have one, go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. Let's talk to Terry from Virginia.
We're probably in a good situation. My husband thinks that probably saving too much for retirement.
Oh, poor you, saving too much. Tell us more.
So I am 49 and he's 51. And we're both working. I'm in the technology or science field and he is a retired military, but he's since gone back to the federal government working. Same thing in DOD, same job, basically.
Okay.
And so we have a pension from the military, which is considerable. And then,
like what? How much?
Just the pension alone, I think it's about $68,000.
And you say we? Is it his, yours, or both of you have it?
No, it's his. Okay. I am not a service member.
Okay, got it. So he'll have a pension. Does he already receive that pension?
Yes, he received it the day he retired.
Okay. So he's 51. And what does he earn right now?
His salary is about $118.
118. And what about you?
I get about 65.
Great. And then in addition to those two salaries, the pension's on top of that, right?
That's correct.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Do you guys have kids?
We have two.
Okay. How old are they?
20 and 12.
20 and 12. What happened in between? I'm excited. Tell us more.
War, deployments. So it was.
It was not a whoops. You can tell the truth. It's all right. You're among friends.
No, it took about 2 months to get pregnant with the first one, and it took about 8 years to get pregnant.
Mark, do you hear that? I don't know if that's good or bad news for Mark. Okay, so now we got these two kids. One is launched or in college. What's with the 20-year-old?
One's in college.
Is that a GI Bill thing? Is that paid for?
It's paid for, but we opted not to use the GI Bill.
Oh.
So on top of all his compensation already that we talked about,
yeah,
he has disability pay because of all his medical issues from his life and just serving. Yeah. So he's what they call 100% total and permanent disability.
That sucks. I mean, stinks.
Yeah, it sucks. So he has a lot of issues, but they don't stop him from actually working. He's not like...
It's like I have ongoing bad things, but I'm not prevented from getting further income. So is that disability, is that why the pension's out, or is it their disability on top of the pension?
Because of his ratings, if you get 50% disability or higher, you get an actual compensation.
How much is that?
For his, we get an extra $40,000 that's not taxable.
Wow. So are you using that to pay for college for your 20-year-old?
No, because he has that benefit, he's total and permanent, we get another educational benefit, which is called the VA Dependent Education Assistance, where every single dependent has this stipend that they give every month for college.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, so we were surprised too.
So that takes care of the 20-year-old school right now, that stipend?
No, it doesn't. It's only about, I don't know if you know, military members get what's called base housing allowance.
Yeah.
So she gets the base housing allowance for an E5, so it's an enlisted 5, for whatever zip code that she's going to school in.
I got it. And so what does that end up being for her?
For her, it's about $1,400 a month.
So how much do you have to pay out of pocket for that?
Virginia State, which is where we live, also has a disability benefit where all dependents of anybody that has 90% disability from the military gets free tuition to any public school.
Oh my God. So that's why she's going to school for free. I got it. So she's got free tuition. Then the federal monthly stipend is $1,400, takes care of housing. She's in great shape.
Yes.
Okay. So no debt for her. 12-year-old, we don't know yet because we don't know where 12-year-old's going.
Yeah, that's why he gets the benefit too. But we can also use the GI Bill, which is great for if he wanted to go out of state.
I got you. So you're covered for school.
Yes, we are covered for school.
All right. That's good. So, all right, there's a lot of money coming in for you guys. So maybe you are saving too much. So tell us about the savings that you've done, like retirement savings and non-retirement savings. What do you have?
So retirement savings, I have about $700. A third of that is in Roth and 2/3 of it is in a deferred account.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that's a lot. That's good.
He has about $750. Again, 2/3 of it is in deferred TSP, and the other is in Roth.
Okay, so $700 and then $750.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's a lot of money. Will you be entitled to any pension going forward, you yourself?
Not really.
Okay, that's fine.
I will get. We did do 6.5% to get his survivor's benefit program, where I would get 50% of his military pension.
Got it. So now, in addition to that retirement savings, what else have you squirreled away? You sound like a squirrel.
Yes.
What do you got?
We also, in a non-retirement account, we have about $200,000.
Do you own your home?
Yes.
How much would you guess it's worth?
About $800.
Any mortgage left?
Yes. We refinance for 1.6.
Stop it.
Yes.
What is the outstanding balance?
It's about 300.
And is it a 10-year? Is it a 15-year? What is it?
So we switched it from a 30-year at 3% to a 15-year fix at 1.6%.
So now, if I look at your total income and your expenses, I mean, you're still saving money, but what do you think you really need to live on? Like, be real, don't be chintzy. Like, what do you think are your expenses?
Probably 110.
110? Okay. We'll get back to Terry in a moment. If you've got a question, go to JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Follow Jill on Twitter and Instagram for more personal finance content. Just use the handle @JillOnMoney. Now, back to the show.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. If you've got a financial question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Let's get back to Terry from Virginia. You will both be entitled to Social Security. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So what's the game plan here? What do you got going? Do you have some thoughts about how much longer you're going to work? You're going to make him work so hard, even though he is disabled, because you have this complete irrational need to save?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Tough luck. Get to work, baby. I mean, obviously, the pension and the total and permanent disability, that is basically covers your needs, right? And so that money, what are you doing with that now? Just socking it away?
We're trying to pay off the house.
Don't do that. Stop paying off the house. Come on. It's a 1.6% loan.
We had purchased some cars because ours was like 10, 15 years old. So.
Okay, but come on. 1.6%? Come on. You don't think you can do better than 1.6%? You've got to be kidding yourself.
Yeah. I mean, he started, we were talking about it, and he actually started putting $1,000 more a month, and I didn't realize it. So
okay, tell him to stop the insanity. Literally. You can buy a 10-year treasury. You can take your money and buy a 10-year treasury for 3.3% instead of paying off that mortgage. Like, if you want to be safe, you can buy some CDs, you can buy a treasury. I mean, I can't let you do that because it hurts me to pay off a 1.6% note. It's not even like a 1.6% car loan where I could say, well, it's a depreciating asset. It's a mortgage. Come on, Terry, help a sister out here.
I will talk to him about it, but he just wants it paid off by the time he retires.
He doesn't need it. You guys have a lot of money. Anyway, you can always pay it off. Like, when's he going to retire? What do you think? After you force him into labor for how many more years?
He's a workaholic. It's
all
not
right.
me.
How much longer? Is he going to work like till 62?
Well, he wants to probably, he can get the FERS, the federal retirement pension plan.
Yeah.
So he has to work for 5 years. So that's the minimum.
Yeah.
Or, he's thinking about maybe just 10 years.
10 more years.
Yeah.
So he works till 61. Just save some money in a non-retirement account. Get that money invested. Do not pay off the mortgage. If he wants to pay the mortgage off later, fine. I presume because all of this, all of your problems with disability, et cetera, I know you have lifetime health and medical, but do you guys have your estate documents done?
So we have a living will. Mm-hmm. So it basically lets the other person make these choices if the other person's incapacitated.
Yes.
And we have, which we didn't know what it was, our lawyer had suggested to us, it was a testamentary will.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. As long as you have your docs done and you have a 12-year-old, so someone's got to take care of this kid if you guys, I don't know if you're like skydivers or something, but, you got to make sure you handle that. But you're in great shape. Financially, you're in great shape. Calm down, Terry. Terry, please. Your husband and you have gone through quite a bit. It's okay to not be such aggressive savers because you have all of this income and you even have the survivor benefit. I mean, I asked about him working. How much longer do you want to work? Are you going to kind of go hand in hand with him, like work to your 60 or 62?
Oh, no, I'll probably work for another year or two.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Well, great. She gets to eat bonbons. The poor disabled guy has to work. Terry, what else can we do for you?
I don't know. When we were younger, we didn't really know a lot about finance, and we listened to our friend, our advisor, and we took some whole life out.
How much is that? What's the death benefit on that?
So he has 200,000 and I have 100,000.
Is there some cash value in it?
Yes. So he has about, I think, 11,000 cash value, and I have he has 20,000 and I have 11.
Are you guys still paying on that policy?
We are. It's about $220 a month.
I mean, you don't need it, right? But if you want to just have it and just because you've paid in, you can actually go back to the insurance company and say, if we were never to make another payment, how long would this last? right? You could do that if you wanted to. And you can do what's called have a paid up insurance policy where you use the cash value and say, whatever's there, maybe it won't be $100,000, maybe it'd be a $50,000 paid up policy. You just say to them, what would it take to have a paid up policy, not for 100, just not putting one more dime in. And you can find that out, right? Or you can just take the money out because you don't need it, but it's kind of like it doesn't really matter. I wouldn't pay more for this. I really wouldn't.
So you would stop the payments?
Yeah,
okay.
I really would. You have a ton of money.
You have term insurance?
We do.
How much?
He has we both have 2 times our salary at work, and he has about $400 through private insurance.
I mean, he doesn't really need more. I mean, obviously, the only reason to have the insurance on him is that when he dies, you're only getting 50% of his pension, right? So, and do you lose the DI at that moment?
Most of it.
Yeah, I mean, so I would keep the insurance on him. All right, I think that's it. I think we're good with you. You're in great shape. Terry, enjoy it. Enjoy it. You guys have lived through a lot. You're allowed to have some fun. It's okay. If you'd like to join us, just go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we conclude the program, we must take an email. This one is from Katie, who says, I always hear you say to invest in a stock market fund and a bond market fund. Well, I have a couple of stock exchange traded funds in my brokerage account, but I'm struggling to find the why for a bond fund. All of the bond funds I see recommended have posted losses over the past 5 years. Well, this is a question about diversification, Katie. What's always been fascinating to me is to look at how diversification can work in the long run, but not so much in the short run. Last year, for example, both the stock and the bond market acted the same. They both had losses. It's very strange for that to occur. What we're really looking at when we bring bonds into the equation is an asset class that usually not only acts differently than the stock market, but also provides more stable income. And this can be important as you age and get into retirement when you are seeking retirement income. So if you were to give us a holler, maybe I could walk you through why that might be helpful for you in your situation. On the other hand, if you are completely tolerant of risk in that you just don't worry if the stock market plunges and a 30% loss is no biggie to you, then you might be able to manage just having a 100% stock portfolio. The problem that many people encounter is that when stocks plunge and there's no other asset to balance it out, they panic. And that's one of the big reasons for asset allocation and diversification. Give us a holler back. Love to hear from you. Okay, that's it. That's the program. We are so delighted that you join us every single week. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Karen Kranick is our web queen. Mark Talercio is the best executive producer in the world. If you've got a question, just go to JillOnMoney.com and we'd be delighted to bring you on the air. And we always ask you to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. We'll talk to you next week.